Hi there, how are you today?
I'm good. Yourself?
My name's Miss Allison, and I'm a therapist at the school. And I was just wanting to meet with you about some things, but first and foremost, I want to have you sign this just to allow us to record it.
Okay.
And then I also want to explain to you today that everything that we're going to do and talk about is between me and you. So another word for that is confidentiality. So unless there's anything that you let me know that like you're getting hurt or you're wanting to hurt someone else or you know about someone like getting hurt or you're wanting to hurt yourself, those are only times that I'm going to have to tell anybody about what we talk about today. Um, so kind of just anything that you talk about that that you may be unsafe. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And would it be all right if I take a few notes while we talk today?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Um, so like I said, I just wanted to talk to you about a few things that's maybe going on. I'm aware that you kind of started at this school recently. Um, So I was just kind of wondering like what's going on and how you've been kind of doing here.
Well, I don't really like it here because the kids are mean and they make me feel like I'm stupid. And then I don't I don't want to use the resource room here. I'm not comfortable at all. I'm not having a good time here. I miss my old school. I knew a lot of people there and I felt like I could trust the people there and the kids didn't make fun of me. So I I'm just struggling really hard and there's stuff at home going on. Grandma isn't doing too well, and mom's working all the time. So that's pretty much.
Okay, well that's kind of a lot going on for you. Um, so I guess I want to talk a little bit more and kind of ask you maybe kind of a silly question, okay? Um, so it's kind of like using your imagination question. So imagine like that you went to sleep tonight and all the problems that you kind of just described to me go away while you're sleeping, but you don't know about it until you wake up. So when you wake up, what would maybe be some of the first things that you notice that would tell you like, oh, something happened last night, like a miracle happened last night, and everything's all of a sudden better.
I think the first thing would be grandma not being so sick
Okay.
because she watches us a lot when mom's not home. And then for some reason, I get to school and it's like all the people are nice to me.
Okay.
I actually have people saying hi. Because since the kids make fun of me now, I don't want to talk to anybody. So, and then for some reason, like the teachers probably be checking up on me and seeing if I'm okay. And it would just be more fun. Like, I'd be playing with people and I would um, get to know the resource people so my grades look better.
Okay. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's a lot of like nice things that would be happening. Maybe like who would you say would maybe be one of the first people that would notice something different in you from all of this?
I would either say my grandma or my teacher would probably be one of the first people to notice. I say grandma because, like I said, grandma watches us a lot.
Okay.
And then I say teacher because, I'm with my teacher all the time. So
Okay.
they would know a lot.
So let's explore this a little bit. So what would maybe be one one thing or two things that your grandma would notice that would be kind of different about you after this miracle?
Probably be more talkative at home about my school days. I want to actually do my schoolwork.
Okay. So what you're saying is you would have some more help at home, you'd feel maybe some more support, and you would want to do your work and maybe kind of share more about how school has been going.
Yeah.
Okay. So you also mentioned your teacher would notice. What are some things that maybe you would say that your teacher would notice that would be different about you after this like pretend type of miracle?
Probably that I'm more comfortable talking to her, like coming up and asking for help. And maybe she would notice that I'm actually talking to the kids in my class instead of staying quiet. So,
Okay. Now, so you shared with me, your teacher, you would maybe ask her for more help, talk to her a little bit more, and talk to some of the other kids too. So, like, what are some times that maybe that you've had in the past before this that you've talked to the kids more and maybe you've asked your teacher for help or done some of your work at home and felt like you had people to talk to more at home.
so you're asking like what has happened, like what has got me to do that?
Yeah, like in the past, has there ever been a time that maybe that has happened or like you felt comfortable asking your teacher for help? That you thought like, oh, maybe I can't do this, or like you expected it, maybe it would go a different way, but like you actually did ask.
So there was one time, it was when things started just happening, and um, you know, I was learning that I could get all this help, whatever. But what made me comfortable is that the teacher and like the resource people told me not everybody has to know.
Okay.
So that kind of made me feel good because like how the kids think I'm dumb now, like my kid, the friends there at school didn't know anything. So and I watch other kids ask questions, so it's like okay, if they ask questions, I can ask questions, but they wouldn't know I get extra help.
Okay. So what do you think? Um, how would you say like on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say, what number would you say that maybe the likelihood is that that could happen again at your school right now? Like if 10 was like, yeah, that would definitely happen, or I could definitely do that, or like 1 is like, no, that's pretty much like not possible. How would you say you feel today?
Today I would say I either 3 or 4.
Okay. So you said you were a 3 or 4. What kind of makes it a 3 or 4 for you?
Because it really does bother me that the kids think I'm dumb, and then I don't feel like I can trust the adults here to have that much help for me like I did at my other school. I don't know them that well.
So, what would it take for you to maybe say be a 4 or 5? Like, what would have to be different?
I guess have the kids stop calling me dumb right
Okay.
away.
So, what if the kids aren't calling you dumb, like you say? What would they be doing instead?
Staying quiet or at least, you know, helping me to go ask questions.
Okay. So they would maybe be helping you more and staying a little bit quieter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, so I want to kind of pause this where we are now, and I think we got some really good like kind of information, and I got a kind of a good background about what you kind of feel like's going on, and maybe some issues that I can kind of help you with. So first of all, I want to say thank you so much for talking to me today because I know that sometimes it can be really hard, especially being in a new place and kind of moving. And it sounds like you have some things, going on at home too. Um, so I just want to say thank you for being able to share that with me and kind of be honest and open with me. Um, and then also, I want to kind of give you a little bit of a task to do for next time that we meet. So, next time that we meet, um, I want you to maybe focus on anything, any other times where you expected like the problem or something kind of bad to happen, but it didn't.
Okay.
So like for some reason it doesn't. So like when we talked about that question, you kind of talked about um, that you were able to trust more adults at your other school and things like that. So kind of try to see if there's any other times that something like that happens, like you are able to ask for help or you're able to maybe do your work at home and you didn't really think you could, but it did happen. So just kind of think about or notice if any of those things kind of happen in these next couple weeks, and then maybe we can talk about it. And that's fine if nothing happens, but we can still talk about it a little bit more.
Okay.
So if there's nothing else for this week that you really want to share, then we'll just schedule for a meeting again in a couple weeks. Okay. It was nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you too.